On display at the National Museum of the United States Air Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base AFB outside of Dayton, Ohio, is the sole surviving prototype of an aircraft that was originally conceived in the 1950s as a high-altitude nuclear strike bomber that could fly at Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound. What makes this especially impressive is that the futuristic-looking XB-70 Valkyrie took to the skies just a mere 6 decades after the Wright brothers made their first flight. It was a testament to the progress made in aviation design in the first half of the 20th century. The XB-70A, built by the North American Aviation NAA Los Angeles Division for the U.S. Air Force, was an experimental high-speed, delta-wing aircraft designed to fly at Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound, and higher than 70,000 feet, 21,000 kilometers. The goal of the program was to develop a high-altitude nuclear strike bomber that could outrun any interceptor sent against it. The planned B-70 was to be a nuclear-armed, deep-penetration supersonic strategic bomber for the Strategic Air Command. With its delta-wing profile, it isn't hard to see the similarities in the overall design of the experimental XB-70 and the British-French turbojet-powered Concorde supersonic passenger airline that was operated from 1976 until 2003. However, the B-70 had actually been conceived well before any consideration was likely given to the high-speed passenger airliner. As initially planned, the XB-70A, which was powered by 6 General Electric YJ-93s of 30,000 pounds, thrust each with an afterburner, was to have a maximum speed of Mach 3.1256 miles per hour, or 3,309 kilometers per hour. At 35,000 feet, 10,668 meters, it could reach Mach 1.901254 miles per hour, or 2,018 kilometers per hour, while at its service ceiling of 75,550 feet, 23,012 meters, it had a maximum speed of Mach 31982 miles per hour, or 3,190 kilometers per hour. The planned combat range of the B-70 was to be 3,419 miles, 5,502 kilometers, with a maximum range of 4,290 miles, 6,904 kilometers. The belief among military planners was that the bomber could simply fly so high and fast that any enemy, notably the Soviet Union, couldn't have easily defended against it. However, the one thing that the XB-70 Valkyrie couldn't outrun was the progress that was being made with missile technology. In fact, by the early 1960s, surface-to-air missiles, or ICM technology, had vastly improved, which in turn threatened the survivability of even high-speed, high-altitude bombers. At the same time, less costly nuclear-armed ICBMs, or called intercontinental ballistic missiles, were entering service. As a result, in 1961, the expensive B-70 bomber program was canceled before any Valkyries had been completed or flown. It was also expected that each aircraft would cost an estimated $24.5 million, nearly $240 million in today's money, which proved simply far too expensive for such an aircraft. That could have been the end of the line for the Valkyrie, but the United States Air Force still moved forward with the program and bought 2 XB-70 as to test aerodynamics, propulsion, and other characteristics of large supersonic aircraft. The XB-70 Valkyrie proved to be a perfect testbed for SSD research, which was being conducted jointly by NASA and the Air Force. It was the same size as the projected SSD designs and used similar structural materials, such as brazed stainless steel, honeycomb, and titanium. The first XB-70, which is now on display at the National Museum of the United States Air Force, first flew in from Air Force Plant 42, Palmdale, California, to Edwards Air Force Base in September 1964, with Chief Test Pilot Alvin Swager White and Colonel Joseph Frederick Cotton, U.S. Air Force, at the controls. The aircraft achieved Mach 3 flight in October 1965, and the prototype continued to fly and generate valuable test data in the research program until it was retired after conducting its final research flight on Feb 4, 1969. It was sent to the museum later that year. A second Valkyrie first flew in July 1965, but in June 1966, it was destroyed following an accidental mid-air collision, which resulted in the death of the co-pilot Mach, Carl Cross. A third Valkyrie was not completed.